Alright guys, welcome back to the Bait Cave, and today we will be showing you how to make split tails, and that's where you pretty much can take two different colors and combine them together by cutting your bait and then reshooting and mending them together. So we're going to show you, this is probably the easiest, this is next level, and then we're going to show you why this is going to be really difficult or maybe not even possible. I don't even think we're going to attempt this today, but we're going to do these two for you today, and we'll show you how you can do some split tails, just some normal old split tails, and then how you can do some pretty cool split tails. But we're going to do that, we're going to show you all that, we're going to give you a reason on why it's going to be really hard to do this and or impossible to do it, or take you just a really long time that it's not going to be worth it. But we'll get on to that. So pretty much the way that this would work is you would in turn have this split off, so you really wouldn't even be working with the body, but with the tail back here you'd be trying to get it down off into there, which is possible, which definitely is possible. But then when you take and you have to close it, you're gonna have to try to get it to go exactly, so I'm gonna show y'all. You have to try to get it to go in there, and you see it's very difficult to do so, but we got it to do it, so it might be possible. We might as well do it in this to see if it's possible. So as we came to the conclusion, this is probably going to be possible. It might take just a little bit longer than these, but it is possible, and we're going to go ahead and do all three of these for the video. Yeah, so we got our tail color mixed up and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and get that shot through the mold so we can get them ready to go. But we're going to do a bright green, and then we'll figure out what color we're going to use to contrast with that so y'all can see a good representation of the split tails. But we're going to go ahead and get these shot up. Alright guys, the first mold we got here is the Senkos, and we're going to show you a few different ways to do that. So if you just wanted to brighten up the tip a little bit, you just want to take what I'd say is 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. I mean, you could take as little as you wanted and throw back in there, or I mean, in all reality, you could take and just cut the head off and have the rest of it the same color. But we're going to show y'all what generally you would do with some split tails. So we're going to take and chop this little end bit piece off. So we got just that little bit that fits just on the end of our finger. You just can go ahead and throw that back in there so you don't lose it. But another way you can is go a little bit further up, like 1/2 inch, maybe even a little more, maybe like that. And then the way that I really like to do it, and there's a reason why I like to do it like this, but you can go as low or as high as you want with this. But the reason I like to do it like this, and I cut it at an angle, is so that when you're shooting the plastic and it goes off down in there, you have more plastic for it to bond to. Whereas this, you just get this one flat surface for it to stick to, which works. It actually works really well, but I found this works a lot better, and you get a little bit of color blendage look right here, and then you get the broad effect. You don't just have a solid color. So those are three ways that I like to do the Senkos, and we'll just do the next one just a random way and throw it back in for y'all. So as y'all can see, we got the short one, a little bit longer, the angled cut longer, angled cut short. Alright guys, so the next thing we got here is the lizards. We're going to actually do something pretty cool with these. So we're going to just do the end of this one. We're going to go ahead and do almost the full tail of this one. But here's where it gets interesting. We're going to take and cut each one of these appendages off. Each one of these little arms is coming off and going to go back in. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do them at different lengths and all that. That way you get an idea. And we'll get these cut off and thrown back in. That way you can see what we're looking at. Guys, so maybe this gives you all a little better idea what we're looking at. So we're looking at a little fuller tail, fuller appendages. So we're looking at a smaller tail, not as full, and the appendages, just the tips, are what's going to be colored. So the rest of this is going to be filled in with a different color. Anywhere you see this that's for the bait that's silver, is going to have more color to it, a different color. So we're going to do these, and then we're actually going to pull out these swim baits and attempt those. Like we said earlier, those are a little trickier. You may not want to take the time to work with those, and we figured out earlier that they worked. So we're going to go ahead and move on to those. So we got our swim baits pulled out, and we're going to do these all a little bit different. So we're going to do one that goes right here, and we're going to attempt one that goes right at the kicker, and then we're going to try one which I like, and we're going to try to cut it at an angle somehow. I think we're going to have to do it like this. We're going to try to get my angle cut in there too, because I really like that because it gives it more plastic to bond to. Guys, so we're going to sit here, we're going to try to get these kind of placed back in the way that they need to go. And it's kind of tricky. It takes a second because you got to kind of wiggle them off in there, but we'll get back to you once we get them in there. As you can see, we got them all kind of back in place. So we're going to go ahead and try to shut this and get all of them shot up. So the color we're going to shoot for the body is actually kind of a lighter June bug color. And we're going to shoot that for the bodies because I felt like it would contrast real well with the lime truce. It's not really a chartreuse, it's a green kind of chartreuse, so it's called lime truce. And so we're going to let that go ahead and bond together with each other, and I think those will be two great colors to go together. Great for fishing, great looking, all of the above. We're going to let those go together, and we got all these shot up. They're getting cooled off. We're going to let them cool off, and we'll come back and show you all the final results. Alright, the Senkos are cooled off. It's the first mold we're going to open. Would you look at that? They always turn out so good. But it's such a straight bait to shoot. So, but that's just a look at these. This one actually got a big old air bubble in it, as you can see. But stuff like that happens in bait making sometimes. This one even got a big bubble in it. But stuff like that happens. We still got some nice baits here. We could obviously cut them, remelt them, and do it again if we wanted to. But that's a general idea, and it shows you what you're looking at. And we're going to get to the lizards next. Alright guys, so the next mold we got here is the lizards. We'll go ahead and pull these out. As you can see, this is the one we did just the tips. That's the one with just the tips. It looks really nice. And here's the one with a little bit more added to it, where it's all of the fins and a little bit more of the tail. And those look really good. And actually, this one got a little bubble too, so we must have had a little bubbles in that one. But as you can see, it still gives you a good representation, and if we wanted to do it again, we could do it again. But it gives you a good idea. And I honestly like the one with just the tips done. It looks really nice to me. But we're going to move on to the swim baits, which we will be surprised on how they turned out, because it was really tricky to get them in. I'm not real sure how well they got in. It's just such a tricky thing to do. It's almost not even worth doing it, but we went ahead and did it for y'all, just to go ahead and see what would happen, because we were able to slide it off in there. Alright guys, so we went ahead and pulled the swim baits out. We're going to pull them off with a sprue. But as you can see, they actually did kind of work out. They didn't do too bad. They did a lot better than expected. I mean, they obviously worked. I'm a little nervous on how much they'll actually hold, because there's not really a lot of plastic, as you can see, holding them on there. I mean, you got thin bits. It's enough to definitely fish with. But if a fish comes up and bites the back of it, this one, I believe it might be, because as you can see on that little ring right there, it actually went over the purple on that ring a little bit. So this one's probably the best. It's going to hold the best. This one's probably going to be the best or the second best. And then this one's got me nervous because the only thing holding this on is that thin strip. But that's all of those for you guys. And we're going to get them lined up. That way you can see the rest of them and have them all lined up. And we'll see what you think. So we got all the baits that we shot. This is what they look like. They actually look pretty good. Well, this isn't all of them. This is just the pick through. But these are the baits we got. and let me know in the comments if you would throw any of these. I feel like these would be some pretty good colors and some muddier, maybe a little bit stained water, not too muddy, but especially somewhere where you got some bluegill with a little bit of chartreuse to their fins.